Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate reporting for yet another spooktacular horror movie and Blu-ray review for the fall/Halloween season of 2014. I'm coming at you with a movie and Blu-ray review for Prom Night. If you're not back by midnight, you won't be coming home. Now, what prompted this review is basically this brand new Blu-ray release by Synapse, which just came out on September 9th, 2014. And, you know, it's a horror movie and it's 1980 and all this and that, so, you know, obviously I'm a huge movie fanatic and a huge early 80s slasher fan, and Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So I'm here to review, as I said, Prom Night and also the Blu-ray. So on to the Prom Night review. So this is a movie that I actually, unfortunately, didn't grow up with. I grew up with a whole handful of movies: Halloween, Halloween 2, Friday 13th, Part 7 and 6, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and, you know, some of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I grew up with a lot of, and even, you know, Slumber Party Massacre and Terror Train. I grew up with a lot of, I feel fortunate to have grown up with a lot of these early 80s slasher movies and horror movies in general. And this, unfortunately, isn't one I ever got around to see for some reason. I mean, after all, I guess you can't see everything when you're a kid, or even when you're an adult, you can't necessarily see everything. So I didn't necessarily see Prom Night probably until, I think I bought, you know, back when like video updates were selling off, they were going to close or whatever, and they were selling off all their VHS tapes, or this might have even happened before they closed, when they were trying to just get rid of all this obsolete VHS. And of course, video updates were really known for just having, I mean, they were open for years and years and years, and they were really known, for me around my burg anyway, for having just, you know, an amazing collection of VHS that, you know, really just finds all kind of treasure troves and stuff. So back in the late, I don't know what the hell it was, late 90s, early zeros, I was, you know, buying all kinds of used VHS. I think they had a deal where you could get 10 tapes for $10 or something like that, or maybe even 20 for $10. It was some ridiculous great deal. It might have been 20 for $10. And I'm pretty sure I picked up the VHS of Prom Night then and probably saw it for the very first time then. And I think I may have seen it 3 or 4 times now, having just watched this just tonight. I just got it in the mail today. So I may have seen, this might be my 3rd or 4th time having seen Prom Night. And I gotta tell you, this movie, every time I watch it, and we've talked about this before, me and Matt and also myself have talked about this before in previous reviews of other movies, that there's certain movies for me where you watch them, like Seed of Chucky, for example. You watch them and it's a mind wipe. Like I just watched it literally hours ago, and you know, it feels like I didn't even watch it, and it's just inexplicable to me. I don't understand it. Now this is probably my 3rd or 4th time having seen it, and it's still the same thing, where it's like it's 90 minutes worth of whatever, 1980s Jamie Lee Curtis and Leslie Nielsen and whoever else is in it, early 80s slasher disco fun. But it's just like you watch it and it just leaves you, personally, me, just kind of like, oh, what did I just see? So unfortunately, gosh, you know, as much as I want to be like a huge fan of this movie, and it's got so many of the elements, Jamie Lee Curtis and so many of the elements, you know, nubile young women and stuff, in just like disco dancing and high school slasher scenarios and masked killers with axes and stuff, or I should say a masked killer with an axe, that you think I'd like it. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that this isn't a movie that I've ever necessarily, having seen it 3 or 4 times now, ever really connected with. And I can tell you that, you know, I've never really liked the first part of the movie where the kids are all in that abandoned whatever the hell it is, and they're like, kill, kill, kill. You know, that scene, I've never really liked it. And the first third of the movie for me is just like it spends so much time setting up all these details. Like, okay, we basically have how many people that perpetrated this crime, these 4 kids or whatever, and it's like a I know what you did last summer situation, or rather, I know what you did last summer as a Prom Night situation, where it's like, we won't tell anybody, you know, they'll never know, they'll just think she either jumped out of the window or fell out or whatever on her own. So obviously in the early 80s you have all this kind of stuff where it's like me and Matt have talked about in our review of Valentine. We referenced this movie, The Incident, which is, of course, what happens in the very same year with Terror Train and Jamie Lee Curtis, where these slasher movies begin a lot of times with The Incident. Not all the time, but a lot of times. Which, of course, is the kids making this girl accidentally fall out of the window and kill her, and she dies and stuff. But for me, although some of the, I do like technically, I think, like editorially, I think the editor did a really cool job in those little sequences in the first third of the movie where all of the now grown up, high school students of these four people who perpetrated this crime at the beginning are getting calls by this mysterious killer who we don't know who it is at this time in the movie. And the whole bit with the pencil on the list and turning it upside down, the eraser, pencil tap on the thing, and all these really, really quick cuts of this and that. I mean, I really like the idea of that behind that and how it's executed and stuff. Unfortunately, it's almost like this movie, like I say, the first third of the movie or part of the first third of the movie just spends all this time, introducing these now high school student characters, and it's like, I don't know, even though there's not a whole lot of them, there's just like four of them, it seems like because it's kind of like Batman Returns or Batman Forever or whatever, when you have so many superheroes, or Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, when you have so many characters, which 4 isn't really a lot, but I don't know, it's not exactly not a lot either. When you're introducing all these characters, you never really have time to spend with any one of them to really get to know them. So for me, having just rewatched it, what ends up happening is you get just very, very, very brief glimpses of the main kind of star, which is, Leslie Nielsen is billed first, and he's he's barely in it, by the way. I mean, it seems like this movie just jumps around so much that it doesn't, like the people who are like billed first, Leslie Nielsen and Jamie Lee Curtis, seem like they're not even barely even in the movie, which is the weirdest thing in the entire world. Like Leslie Nielsen, for being billed first, is, and from my estimation, I just watched it, barely in the movie. And Jamie Lee Curtis for being like the Halloween actress, heroine character, it seems like for me personally, you don't get to spend enough time with any of the individual characters to really get to know them very well. And this is a movie that's obviously capitalizing on Halloween. It's like a weird rip-off of Halloween and Carrie at the same time, because then you have this, the prom king's estranged, jealous girlfriend who throughout the whole movie is getting this other guy, he might as well just be John Travolta's character from Carrie, together to do the exact same thing on prom night, which was like Carrie as well. You get this idea that she's formulating some plan which never ends up coming to, where they were gonna do something. The John Travolta wannabe guy was gonna replace the prom king, I guess, and go out onto the stage in place of him. Ooh, big deal. But that ends up being foiled with one of the most memorable sequences in the movie, which of course is very close near the end. And it's kind of cool they saved it for that, where probably definitely, if not the most memorable, one of the most memorable scenes in the movie, where of course the killer hacks this John Travolta wannabe guys. Not that he pretends to be John Travolta, but the character, he fills the shoes of the character John Travolta played in Carrie in this movie, as being like, the guy who's going to pull off the jealous girlfriend or the jealous girl's plan to ruin the prom for whoever. So the decapitation and the head rolling onto the stage is classic and fantastic, and good on them, And the fake having the guy's real head through the thing with the neck looks really good, like it's actually cut off. So that's probably the highlight of the whole movie. But unfortunately, it's like just like Final Exam. This movie doesn't really have, not really, it doesn't have any kills until an hour into the movie. The kills don't start. So that at the very beginning, the girl falls out the window, kill, she's dead. It's not a kill, it's more like just a death. And there's no kills. If you're looking for kills, I'm just telling you ahead of time. And there's no kills for an hour into the movie. And I gotta tell you, like, the first one is kind of like, the kills when they happen aren't even, I don't know, something just about this movie never rubbed me the right way. it's so frustrating because like I say, it's 1980. It's like the golden year, or one of the golden years of these kind of movies. But the same year as Terror Train, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite movies, favorite slasher movies, horror movies. You know, but it just rubs me the wrong way, man. I feel like the characters, and then the thing that I really don't like is that detective or whoever the hell he is, and these people, that's the one thing I would have taken out of the movie, because I think that it fills the movie with too much cutting around, the bullshit of like the well, spoiler alert, the red herring of this other person who, this other, you know, this other suspect who's this child rapist or whatever, and all that stuff with the detective. You know, I guess they felt like they had to do the Halloween thing or something. Just too much jumping around for me personally, so you can't really enjoy any specific time necessarily with any of the characters. Standout characters for me are, you know, the guy in the van, the tubby short guy in the van. I think I would have liked I really like the guy who plays him, and I really like his character, and I like the girl he ends up with, you know, and I really would have liked to have actually spent more time with him. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, they only get like those 2 scenes when they meet, and then their scene where they end up getting together. You know, and that's one of my favorite scenes when they're in the van, and I wish, you know, that would go a little longer, because it's just kind of cool and whatever. But that kill is cool when, you know, her head, the door's open, her head falls out, falls down, and then it's like, one thing I don't like about the killer's physique, very much like Graduation Day, where it's just, I like the killer's physique in Graduation Day more, because I think he's like, I don't know, I want to say he's in like sweatpants and shit, so it's more like, and then he's got that fencing mask on. So I like the killer's appearance and physique more in Graduation Day, but the killer's physique in this, the guy, the stuntman or whoever they got to do this, the killer, is just like, I don't know, I just never really liked it. The ski mask thing is cool, but like the rest of what he wears, and the, you know, is kind of hyper, you know, Energizer Bunny hyperactivity energy, I never really liked. So the standout characters are the short tubby guy, and that girl I think is really endearing, the character. I also like Pouty Lips. She's pretty sexy, the Virgin, and I thought that was an interesting twist on the slasher movie genre, which is actually this virgin who actually is just about to get her cherry popped and then decides not to. She should have went for it, because that was her only chance in life to actually do it, because in a few moments later she died. But she was pretty attractive with her pouty lips, and I do give the writer credit for, you know, turning the very, very new at the time, you know, cliche on its head, and almost his scream fashion of having the virgin actually not get de-virginized and then, you know, get killed. Like just Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, she's here and there and comes and goes and does a dance rehearsal, but her presence seems so limited in this movie. And like I say, one of my biggest complaints with the movie is just all of the jumping around it does. And the cops, shit, I just don't care about this cop hunting down the supposed killer. And is it the real killer or is it not? I guess maybe I won't spoil it. Maybe I've already done that subtly. I don't know. But Prom Night, I guess at the end of the day, I mean, just, you know, the goofy disco-ness. And I do kind of like the dance number for a goofy-ass, just 1980s goofy way, and the way the camera goes around it, and their choreography is kind of cool, and Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of sexy in that outfit, and kind of a sexy dancer in that scene, and I guess I'll go 2.5 stars. I want to really like this movie more than I do, but like I say, this is my 3rd or 4th time trying it, and it's just like, something about the kills for me, they're either happen too quick, or in the case of that one girl who wants to, the jealous girlfriend or the jealous girl, it seems like the cat and mouse thing goes too long. It's just like something about this whole production is like off for me. It just, I don't know if it's the editor, I don't know what the hell it is. Like the pacing, the whole thing just never really agreed with me. But there's things that are cool enough about it, and some of the characters, and Pouty Lips, and the short tubby guy, and his, you know, conquest in the van scene, and Leslie Nielsen, who's barely in it, by the way, and all this kind of stuff, that, and just the high school atmosphere. And you know, one of the actually more standout characters is the guy who would basically is being the John Travolta character in this particular movie. He's one of the standout characters, and we actually do see quite a bit of him, and I like his character. When he comes to pick her up, he's just in this t-shirt and with these two other guys in this crappy car, and it's just like, it's just a rip-off of Carrie like you wouldn't even believe. So 2.5 stars for the movie. Trust me, I really want to love it, but I can't do it. I can't be a fraud and lie. I have to tell you what I really think about it. So, on to the review of the Blu-ray for Prom Night. As I said, Synapse Films just released this on Blu-ray in September 9th, 2014. And on the back it says, brand new 2K high definition transfer from the original 35mm camera negative. 5.1 surround remix specifically created for this release, and luckily to my enjoyment and my whatever satisfaction, it includes the original mono soundtrack, which of course I watched. It's got commentary with the director and the screenwriter, and a 41 minute or so just retrospective kind of / making of where people involved talk about it. You got like 3 of the actors, I think, that were in it and stuff. Additional scenes, oh I forgot to watch those, that were added for the television broadcast. It's like 23 minutes is kind of cool for you like film, you know, making buffs. There's 23 minutes of, I think, mostly silent, if not all silent, like MOS just footage, like just, you know, raw footage from stuff that didn't end up making the final cut. So that was really cool, and that says it's never before seen outtakes. 23 minutes exclusive to this Blu-ray. It says motion still gallery, which I didn't look at, exclusive to Blu-ray. Original radio spots exclusive to Blu-ray. Original theatrical trailer, and television spots. Let me just tell you about the quality of the Blu-ray. Unbelievable. This is, you know, has to be like the best that this movie, of course, until 4K. But anyway, this is obviously, no movie deserves to look this good. Surely not this movie deserves to look this good. It's just, it blew the hell out of my face. It blew my socks off. It's fantastic. And I have 5.1 set up on the projector, and I watched this on the TV so I could just see the quality, the high definition of it in this. And I picked the mono soundtrack, which I will say as well, I was surprised for how much I got kind of pansy ass speakers connected to the TV, but for just being the original mono, I mean, it had the music stuff had a lot of, you know, the fidelity of the mono soundtrack is pretty fantastic. So, but I can't stress how amazing. Oh my gosh, we really have to take our hats off to these outfits like Synapse for taking the time to do this for us early 80s slasher movie fans, because this is just, you know, if you're a fan of this movie and have some extra money laying around, like 20 bucks, I think I paid 20 bucks for it on Amazon, I would obviously highly recommend getting this. I mean, even, you know, I'm obviously not, unfortunately, I'd love to be, but I'm really not the biggest Prom Night fan in the entire world, but being an early 80s slasher movie fan, I have to have this part of my library. I've never had any DVD of this other than just this crappy, like, bootleg piece of crap DVD that I got really cheap. I think like Synapse or someone's put out a quality, more quality anamorphic widescreen DVD of it in the past, but since I wasn't never really a big fan of it, I never sought it out or anything. But when this came out, I'm like, let's just add it to the collection because the quality probably kicks ass, and I can definitely confirm it does. So I think that might pretty much do it for my Prom Night movie and Blu-ray review. So thank you very much for watching another in my series of spooktacular, huge movie fanatics horror movie reviews for the fall/October Halloween season of 2014. And as always, I will catch you on the next movie review. Thanks for watching.